if we look here, your chest lift number is much better, but it's in the yellow, which means that you still don't have enough chest lift with the left shoulder going down and around. And also we see here with chest bend, you're still not having enough chest bend, which means you're not bent down towards the ball enough towards impact, or not far down enough to get to the ball to have a proper impact position. And if we go back here with the trace of this left shoulder, we can see why that number isn't where we want it to be yet. So as we look here, as you go down, it goes down a little bit, so it's a little bit of an arc. But you can see from here, it's pretty much level after this point, and it's already going back up. What we want is we want it to be a little bit further down, so then from there, later in the swing, you can extend up instead of getting to this point and extending up earlier. So before we adjust anything, let's talk about why we must move down in transition, specifically looking at the left shoulder in order to hit proper golf shots. So I'm gonna demonstrate this. So right now, I'm moving in a plane like I'm hitting T-ball, right? Like I'm playing the game T-ball. And this plane is parallel to the ground, because we know the golf swing is an arc. However, I'm moving in an arc parallel to the ground. So I'm gonna demonstrate this way. So playing T-ball, I'm moving in an arc parallel to the ground, right? Now, what happens when we have to address a golf ball? So when we address a golf ball, what is our setup like? Our setup goes from here to here. So now, because of that change in setup, that changes the angle of the arc from parallel to now, as we keep moving down, as if I'm bending towards the golf ball, now it's at a 45-degree angle. And what happened as I moved from parallel to the ground to 45 degrees inclined to the ground? I moved from up here now to the angle of my shoulders going from flat, now moving up and down. You can see it better from face on. As I move here, parallel to the ground, my shoulders are moving flat. And then now, as I keep going inclined towards the ground, now my shoulders are moving down and up, because I'm 45 degrees, I'm inclined 45 degrees towards the ground. So that is the main reason why we need to move down in transition in order to hit proper golf shots. Now, that's only one piece. So say if I put this club down and I start moving again on this flat plane parallel to the ground. Now, when we do this, what is happening? So demonstrate from this. So moving this flat plane, then 45 degrees to the ground. So what's the result when I go back to impact? I have a straight right arm. And if we think about impact, where, take this club, where I have a bent right arm, so that reduces my radius, and I have pelvis turn and chest turn in order to get shaft lean and club face control and turn through it. What do I have to do more of then? So let's look from down the line. So if I'm up here, have this same arc, I have this straight right arm, now the club is in the ground early. So in order for me to get to the golf ball with a bent right arm, here, the club is up here now with this bent right arm. So what do I have to do to get to it? I have to move down even further to get to the golf ball. So if I went to the top, where we're in an extended position, now the feeling is I have to move down even further to get this bent right arm and have the proper impact position. So that tells us that we need to move down in transition before we think about shifting left. So what happens when we shift left too far and too fast in our downswing? We know Newton's law is every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if I go to the top, and the first thing I do is shift, and when I mean shift, I mean shifting my left hip outside of my left knee, what's happening? Am I moving down or am I moving up? You can look at the left shoulder and left hip. I'm moving up. And what's the result in terms of impact when we do that? Now I have to, what? Early release, straighten my right arm in order to get to the ball. Versus, if I go to the top and I feel like I move down first, right? Then now from here, I can turn without worrying about early releasing the club. So going back to Newton's law, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. If I shift left too fast, what do I want to do? I want to back up. Since I went too far forward fast, now I'm going to back up to find balance. Versus, if I feel like in transition, I torque this right foot, I keep some pressure and then I move down. Now, two things are going to happen. If I move down, I'm going to move up, right? But later, and I can still have this bent right arm. And also, since I'm not going forward too fast, but I'm keeping some pressure back, now that reaction is going to be me moving forward later, which is what we want. We would rather move forward in this position versus shifting too early and moving back, because now that messes up our impact alignments, messes up our low point, and we don't have the proper dynamic loft to have those penetrating ball flights. So one feel that you can have, as we looked at the video before, is feeling like my left shoulder goes down and then around. Or you may have the feeling of having the left hip go down, then around. Or the last one could be you feeling like you keep the right hip high. So I'm gonna keep some pressure back here. The right hip stays high, my right shoulder stays high, and then you move around from there. So try those feels out, but the summary from that is that in order to get to the ball with the plane that we have in the golf swing, which is a 45-degree angle inclined towards the ground, and to get the proper impact position, that we must move down first in our downswing before we think about shifting forward. So try that out.